Friends and lovers, this meeting of the Tribalism Chiefs is called to order. My name is Jake, and I am the one who does a lot of the talking here, but I can't do it without my fellow Tribalism Chiefs. Joining me, originally from Syracuse, New York, Kyle John Fenton, a.k.a. KJF. How are you, KJ?
Good. I like the way that comes off announcing. I think the way you said that is exactly how I'd be announced at some point. In any wrestling event. I think Kyle John Fenton is a good wrestling name. It may have something to do with the fact that it matches MJF's initials very much, but to that point, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just here to chat some wrestling for a bit. We're hitting the new year with a new title, new flair,
yes,
new whatever.
We'll get into that lore dump in a second, but Let's introduce our other co-host. Hailing from Baltimore, Maryland, it is Omar Money Tariq. How you doing, Omar?
Man, I'm good. You know, as still in KJ's line, it's always great to be a wrestling fan. So.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're doing this thing here called wrestling.
Well, we're not wrestling. We're talking about wrestling because we're marks, but, you know.
Yes, exactly. And we are a group of marks that have known each other for a number of years. We met in a group called the Carolina WrestleManiacs that we will be plugging throughout the duration of this podcast and however many episodes it goes, because it's been our main friend group for most of us in our time together in Charlotte. And it's been wonderful.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think it was...
Yes.
Oh, when did you join, Omar? Because I think Chris got me back into this through Goodman, actually. It would have been 2015, late 2015, early 2016, maybe? I think I might have caught the 2016
Yeah,
Rumble.
I came in early 2017.
Yeah, using Meetup, right?
Yes.
Correct, yeah, I was Meetup.
And then we...
Actually, it's funny because Shannon found you guys on Meetup, and she was like, "Yeah, I found this group. You want to?"
That's right. Shannon's the one who told you.
Back home, and I was like, okay, because it was Seacrest, and I was like, all right, so.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
what the hell was she looking for then on Meetup?
Because she's been on Meetup, and at the time she was doing some like boot camp workout stuff.
Okay, so through that, sure, okay,
different things there, and then she came across that. She was like, "This is something you might be interested in." Something like you think.
Yeah, if that's not some OG freaking like ideal client persona type, like you clicking shit and being like link through that because you're married. That's wild, man. That's funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, basically this podcast, the genesis of it was originally KJ just talking about we have a Pick'ems division.
Yep.
We got competitive about predicting wrestling shows. That's how big marks we are. To the point where you'll see this in a few weeks, viewers, when we finally do our first video episode. But KJ is the current holder of the title belt for being the best at guessing wrestling. A belt that he commissioned himself. It's changed hands many times over the years, but it's back where it originally started.
Back where it fucking belongs. Yeah, and just to put context into this, when we first did it, I wanted to have the belt. I went on Undisputed. I got like a legit custom. I had one of our guys, Darius, like make the logo. We always do the shocker. I did it just to randomly like high one day, and then it just kind of stuck as our like symbol of like it's like our symbol of acceptance. Like if we think you're doing something really cool in Discord, we use that symbol. But I bought it, and then I never defended it like a true champion does until it was it All Out?
All Out.
All Out
2021.
When I got smoked by Eric Goodman. He beat me clean. He ran the card. He picked a perfect card. I got 3 matches wrong. And it took me 2 years to fight and claw and get this thing back. And I won it outright. And then during my first title defense, isn't it fitting that I won it back in a tie? That's awesome. Or I retained in a tie, right? So I've never actually beaten anyone clean.
Right.
I haven't done it yet, but I am the longest in terms of number of days. I've held the title for the longest amount of time. I think that's going to come to an end. Our rightful ruler, so to speak, Chris Seacrest, who's the reason all of us know each other, is going to be defending for it, and I have a feeling he's going to beat me. Dude's been going on a tear, so if I have to give it up, I'll just buy another belt and I'll keep this one because that's what I'll do.
He's funny. The other day we was in Discord and he was like, tagged me. He's like, "Care to cash in?" I'm like,
Yeah, dude.
I'll let you know when the time comes.
And we've bastardized this thing so much, thanks to Jake, and obviously, keeping it light, keeping it refreshing, and doing some cool things. But we've introduced these like tokens now that you can win on the side. So now there's a bunch of people that can like quote unquote cash in. So we've got like 7 people that can defend for the title, and now I'm like, well, there's no way I'm keeping this thing. There's no way, right?
Every time I see Chris sees me, he's like, "So are you using your money in the bank? You cashing in?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It'll happen."
Yeah, because you have to use that prior to the next.
We've gotten to the point where we have a money in the bank, which is currently held by Omar.
Right. It's funny how that worked out.
I still got some time.
Yeah, you do have some time. Yeah, you have to defend it. Yeah, he has to defend it either at Money in the Bank next year or before, right? Like he has to use it by then.
Yeah. It expires at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Yep. Watch you hold it all the way to that, you prick. Yeah. Because, and the way the tokens work, in case you care if you ever join, tokens have to be defended at one of the shows that are on the docket, but the Money in the Bank can be at any time with a little bit of a...
You're saying defended wrong, KJ. This is really annoying me.
What do you mean?
Like no one's defending anything. They're the challengers. It's you, the champion, who's the only one.
I'm not used to being the damn champ. It took me 2.5 years to get the damn thing back.
I'm sorry. I'm a bit of a stickler about words. I use words good, and
I use words good
when people don't use words good.
I'm sorry. I use bad words. Words bad. My fault.
Yeah.
My B.
You committed wrong speak.
Speak wrong. Me. Bad mind.
Oh, Lord. And so, talking more about our backgrounds as wrestling fans, we'll start with Omar because he was here first on this planet and was the first to truly love wrestling. You were an OG Hulkamaniac.
That I was. I grew up in the golden era. Hogan, Savage, Warrior, Sergeant Slaughter, all those guys, Andre the Giant. WrestleMania 3 was the first big thing I saw that brought me into it. Actually, my father showed it to me. And ever since then, I was hooked. I mean, the awe of it and everything just... I grew out of it probably around 2005-ish going on. And then Taker and Shawn wholeheartedly brought me back in full force.
So 05, how old were you then?
05, I was 19.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you were just, trying to get laid. 19. That makes sense.
I mean, so I was still watching, not like...
Right, like you would pay attention to what's going on. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but then, it was just like, okay, start paying attention more, like, all right, I'm starting to get, pulled back in.
And what year was that? 08? Was that their match?
09.
Yeah,
09. Spring of 09.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Yeah, he would have been out of college by then. Because you only had 4 years, right? You just got the bachelor's. Bounce out.
Actually, I didn't finish my degree. I just did some college.
Oh, word. I didn't know that.
I quickly found out school was not for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
KJ, I would say you have the arc of a modern millennial wrestling fan, where it's like, like you first started watching stuff, like you saw stuff of the Attitude Era, but I would say Ruthless Aggression was more your time.
Yes, yeah, because I was. No, I was just gonna chime in. Yeah, I was born in '93, right? So my first pay per view that I remember watching was King of the Ring '98, which is wild because that's the fucking Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell match, which I remember my mom distinctly being in awe because that was like a real thing. But yeah, I watched it through the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression. I would say probably a little earlier than Omar. I stopped watching, I think, like 14, 15. I was playing sports. I was doing extracurriculars. I was always gone, so I was never really watching TV at all. And it wasn't, so that would be the lapsed part. So what Jake's referring to as being kind of like a lapsed fan, WWE sucked from like 2013 to 2018, which we all know, and Impact was no better. So there really wasn't anything good to watch. And then it wasn't until around 2015 or 16 that I got roped back into this. And then people were saying, you should watch some New Japan stuff. And Bullet Club was dope. I had no idea who those people were. Fell in love with the Young Bucks. And then once All In happened, I was hooked from then on. So I would say AEW probably brought my love of wrestling back. But I've always been a WWE mark, and I love that shit. I love my dramedy.
Mhm.
I love it. I have no problem that I'm watching 4 matches in 3 hours. I really don't care. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic because I'm watching 2 different shows for 2 different purposes. But yeah, I would say that's definitely correct as more of a modern fan who can consume both and enjoy both. Yeah, that's been my arc. There was definitely a lot there. And during those golden ages, like the early Impact shit, had no fucking clue. No idea. And I go back and watch it, I'm like, this is awesome. Right? But you get the idea.
Yeah, so my arc is very weird because I was not a wrestling kid growing up, okay? Like I was
And you're the one in the business.
I was watching like,
right, it's crazy.
like cartoons and stuff. I was that kid who would just watch Simpsons DVDs. But then when Brock beat the Undertaker's streak, I saw a lot of like content creators that I followed get emotional. It's like, wait, these guys watch wrestling?
Yeah,
And,
because his whole shtick was like he would never get beat. And I even knew about that. I was like, oh, there it is. He's just going to retire on it. That's great. And then they gave it to Brock. And I think for a lot of us, we were kind of annoyed because we'd seen Brock so much by that point, and we knew we were just going to get more of him. Right, and I think because he was also fighting in the UFC and kind of like abusing
the thing about Brock,
yeah.
like contextually, like KJ, you're probably thinking of like his title reigns and stuff.
Yes.
But by that point, Brock, he had gone off of a trilogy of matches with Triple H. Who wanted that other than Triple H?
That's what we mean. Is like there was nothing.
True.
Right, like it was weird, and I guess if you were deep into the fan, it was fine. But as someone who was lapsed, I was like, really? They decided to go for that? Interesting. Which then we saw Brock versus Roman for 8 years straight.
But yeah, so then, wrestling, like slowly over the course of 2014 and 2015, like this curiosity I had about it just became, okay, I'll buy this WWE Network. It's only $10 a month, even on a college kid's meager living standards. That's affordable, right? So then it just kind of devolved, and I started learning more and more about it to the point where in 2017 I was writing articles for What Culture. I was writing list content, and a couple of them actually got adapted into videos. One of them narrated by Simon Miller.
I didn't know that.
Of course, I was,
that's pretty cool.
I was never credited or comped for that being adapted into video, but it's like, for a college kid, it was pretty dope, like being paid to write about wrestling.
Well, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's happening to Pixel now.
Yeah.
With all his shit getting shared by by all of AW and stuff. Like, it's cool. It's the same type of thing. You just did it, a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I would say I became kind of lapsed maybe in sort of the post-COVID years. I was still watching Dynamite every week, but that's the thing. I was only watching Dynamite. Yeah. And I was just kind of like tuned out over time. Like, the thing about me as a WWE fan, like I used to like watch Raw every week, which I could not.
You're a sicko, dude. I don't even do that.
Yeah,
that's tough to do.
I was in college watching Raw every week. That's so I was not getting laid.
No, dude, no, because. But man, that had to have been brutal, bro. Ugh.
Yeah. God. Yeah, in that time frame.
Because you were in college, what, 2014 through 18?
Late 2014 to late 2017.
Okay, yeah, right. So, ew.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, it was just torture and the occasional funny New Day segment.
Sure. I mean,
also like sometimes like AJ and Seth would bust out like a banger random match, but that was kind of it.
Yeah. Like we said, redeeming qualities, but yeah, for the most part, the level was pretty low, right? It was very.
I would say overall, my greater I become more invested in wrestling when I got back in the business. I currently do commentary for some promotions in North Carolina. One is Apple City Championship Wrestling. We're coming back to Hickory on February 1st. The matches were announced today. Going to be a lot of great ones, including Cam Jackson, BK Westbrook, and Ella Envy, who is one half of the NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, going up against the Sports Entertainment Empire of James Johnson, Drew Hood, and Mila Johnson.
That's their gimmick name. I love that.
Sports Entertainment Empire, yeah.
It's
awesome.
like
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, James, like when James and Mila and Drew are introduced, they say, "From Orlando, Florida, by way of Stamford, Connecticut."
That's dope. I love that. Just trying to get heat. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for them. I love that. That's great. Is there gonna be like a bunkhouse brawl too for shits and gigs? The beginning of the show.
No, NAWA has the bunkhouse stampede gimmick.
Yeah.
And like they do shows real close to ACCW, so probably don't want to step on those toes. We also got, but yes, and then Extreme World Wrestling. We have our return to Lenny Boy Brewing Company on the 24th. Admission to those is free. Okay, so if you live in Charlotte and you want to drink some good craft beer and watch free wrestling, XWW monthlies at Lenny Boy are your thing.
Yes. And I've watched it, like I haven't gone lately, but I remember seeing like, it wasn't a ton of people. Dude, the place is packed all the time, and it's awesome.
And they put on banger shows.
Yeah, they do.
Yep.
It's a great, entertaining show. Like, and y'all are so great too. Like, you guys were so gracious when I was hanging around for a cup of coffee. Like, you guys are so nice, so generous. Look, people behind the curtain, but everyone at that seems to know what they're doing is a good thing, and Manny's a good dude for sure. Even though he might play a bad guy on screen. He's actually a really awesome guy. If you ever get a chance to talk to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was honored recently by winning the 2024 XWW Commentator of the Year, which I'm very thankful for. I even had my in-ring debut in 2024 for XWW because Manny took a pitch I made and turned it into, yes, you guys are going to wrestle in the main event.
It's beautiful though. Like, but that's the type of promotion that is. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's really, really cool. Is like, because he knew you were gonna do the best job you could. It's not like you were gonna phone it in.
Yeah.
And if you did, Quest was gonna kick your ass, right? So
here's the thing, folks. And like a lot of people ask me, like a lot of my family members, like were kind of like, "Oh, Jake, when's your next wrestling match?" And I explained to them it was a one-time thing. I can't train to be a wrestler because I can't fucking bump. Like mentally, I block myself from like bumping like how you're supposed to, flat on your back. Yeah,
because you have to you're supposed to like almost like kind of push it and like get yourself to that. And if you don't even like that, forget it. No way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Trust me, when you got that muscle memory like that, it's hard to change it. Look at John Cena; he's a vet and he can't take damn German suplexes.
Right.
He doesn't take them right. Like every time you see him take one, you're like, "This dude."
he crundles up like this.
John's always been kind of a sloppy wrestler mechanically.
Yes.
So
yeah. But that's what you do, man. You mask your weaknesses, right, and highlight your strengths. That's what he does, man. And Jake, and while we're talking about this a little bit, I remember you used to start giving credence to some of those old heads where you'd be like, you like the, you like the flippy shit or whatever. But then you were like, man, I get why Hogan did 5 moves, brother. Like I get, I remember when you were going through your wrestling thing. So like, can't really hate it,
Mm-hmm. And also why there's a lot of stalling in matches because those guys need to catch their fucking breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's athletic, man. Like, no joke. Like, like you don't have to be an athlete to gain athleticism and be a wrestler, but like it'll help, like, for sure.
Yeah,
that's why WWE's got a ton of them.
That's for damn sure.
And so, I guess we can get to the main point of this episode. None of us are laps right now. We all have our respective opinions and stuff. One of those, KJ in the old podcast loved to say that it's the best time to be a wrestling fan, just in terms of how many options as a fan you have to watch. I would like to argue that that best time has passed now.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And I'm going to pin it on the fact that the WWE Network is no longer around. That was huge for like not just, being able to keep up with modern WWE at a reasonable price, but also being able to watch the backlog.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't have a Netflix account right now. I'm probably gonna have to get one for next week. But like, is it just old WWE pay-per-views that are on there, or is
I can tell you.
Nitro
Give me a
on
sec.
there yet?
I'll tell you. I don't even know because I only watched it.
Right now, I think it's just like wrestler profiles. It was showing Raw on Netflix is there. I don't know if the backlog of Raw is on there yet. But as far as like all the PLEs and everything, they're still on Peacock.
Yeah, they'll be on
okay.
Peacock.
Peacock
Yeah, they'll be on
has
Peacock
the-
through
Peacock
what,
has the deal until
2026?
2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's
2026 is when they're
another
coming
thing.
with
Like,
it.
everything's just gotten so fucky. You know, I miss where you could just watch nothing but wrestling on the wrestling streaming service, and that's gone now, and I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
I
you're allowed
hate
to
that
feel
I
that
can't.
way.
Yeah, it's like, my God, it was so liberating. Well, not liberating. It was just so comforting to just like have an old friend over and I just toss on a random episode of Nitro from 1998. You know?
Yeah. Even when I would go home and me and my boys would get together and when one friend would put on, like a old pay-per-view from early 90s and then we'd watch like a Nitro from like 97. And it was just like, you just have it on, but then I used to love the shows they brought up for Legends House. Like, you get to see all the Legends I grew up watching and like they were all put in the house for like 2 weeks and it's like, these old fuckers are just crazy. And we only got one season of that, but it was like, that was cool. You tuned into that every week.
Even the dumbass propaganda for WWE Network, like the Monday Night Wars narrated by Keith David, that was just so sick.
Which I still think is a great series. I still think it's great. Even though it's WWE washed to hell, it's still great.
Yeah.
Raw, I'm looking at right now on Netflix.
And they just put Ride Along on there.
Yep. On Netflix,
You know what's
you
funny,
can watch.
So Matthew from Botchamania, right? He got a message from a non-wrestling friend, and he said, yeah, I saw that WWE's on Netflix now. I think I might start watching." And so he says, so my friend naturally starts at WrestleMania 1 because that's where the catalog starts.
That's great.
Have fun.
Folks, if you've never watched it, WrestleMania 1 is fucking dire.
Awful.
Yeah.
Absolute D-tier dog shit.
And you want to know which one's probably even worse is I think it was 7, I think. Was it 7 or 8?
Are you talking about the one with Sergeant Slaughter in the main event?
Oh, yeah, it was bad. Like, everything that was going on with the country, I was like, y'all should not have just done that.
I mean, we still got Warrior Savage out of that pay-per-view, so it wasn't a total loss.
But their numbers they did for that was, like, terrible, like, the buy rate and everything.
Well, yeah, because,
y'all probably should
originally they were teasing the idea of a Hogan-Warrior rematch. That probably would have filled the LA Coliseum, but instead they were just like, yeah, let's have Hogan go up against fat old Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
You have to advance the business forward, Jacob. You can't possibly just keep putting the same match on top, which we didn't listen to by the time Brock Lesnar was on top because him and Roman were just running WrestleMania main events for like
that series was for
people
no
were just
one
pissed
other
off
than
'cause
Vince McMahon.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, because it was just like, Brock, just keep winning. Everybody's like, all right, bro, we're sick of seeing the same thing with the same result.
So now that we're on this topic, because I think it's fun, right? Let's go through our eras here, and we'll obviously get to the more modern. But let's go back. Like, if you're gonna pick a WrestleMania to watch from the first, we'll call it the first 10 of them, what are the top 2 to watch? I would go 3 and 10.
Yeah,
personally.
3.
3 definitely is.
10, yeah, that has like the best opening match, and Shawn and Razor holds up, and everything else is inoffensive, I would say, except like the Savage Crush match. It's probably a good train wreck to watch.
Sure,
it is. Selfishly for me, I would say 6 because Hogan and Warrior was a still show match with that one.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
also lifted by the Toronto crowd just going apeshit.
Yes,
for everything.
Correct. Another example of like how global this shit was even then and what it is now. Like, international crowds get how to be a wrestling fan. And I think American fans are generally
Oh, for sure.
especially nowadays.
Yeah. WWE's denying it right now, but Bad Bunny claimed in a recent interview that Backlash is going to Mexico.
That'd be dope. Can you put Bad Bunny in
And
a
he says he said he's biting at the bit to get back into it.
I mean, shit, you got to give
back.
Penta a world title match in that case.
Yeah, his
Dude,
debut earlier was
Penta versus Bad Bunny in a street fight sounds awesome.
no, you gotta have the Latinos get along. You can't divide the crowd. But no, like Penta versus Gunter, book it in Mexico.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be dope.
And then we started getting some really good manias after that. What we're talking about, because then you had 12 with Brett versus Sean. That's a classic any day of the week.
Oh, that's one of my all-time favorites, the Iron Man match.
yeah.
Well,
Sean was one of my main.
Going to be foreshadowing here. In the future, we're definitely going to be doing a tier list of WrestleMania main events, and I'm going to divide it among the three of us to where not all three of us don't have to watch every single one.
Sure.
We'll just each of us will.
We can think in each other's lenses and perspectives of what
Yeah.
we'd want for sure.
I'm just gonna say up front that match is gonna. If I have that match, I'm gonna put that in D tier dog shit. It is dire.
You don't like the
Brett
Iron Man
versus
match?
Shawn. No, it's fucking terrible.
You just hate storytelling.
No,
How dare
it's
you?
slow and boring.
I loved it.
It's
That's
bad.
an Iron Man match. It's what's supposed to be.
I think no.
Fuck you. Go watch MJF versus Bryan Danielson and get back to me,
I saw that
motherfucker.
Jake has a
Go
good.
watch
But you gotta
Triple
remember
H
the time
versus
it
The
was,
Rock.
Jake has a good point. And this is the whole this is the discourse. This is the rhetoric is there's different strokes for different folks. Objectively speaking, yeah, it's
Correct.
not necessarily an entertaining wrestling match. That I agree with.
Well, you're not gonna get fast paced with Bret Hart.
No, not at all. You're gonna get a fucking rest hold for 5 minutes while they discuss what they're
Correct.
gonna do for the next
Correct.
15. Yeah, but that's what they were alluding to, is this get us to a point of a false finish and whatever. It was there. But then you started to pick it up a little bit, to your point, where then we start getting Stone Cold on top, and then we get Stone Cold versus The Rock for 3 years in a row, and then that leads us into the Attitude Era, which I think everyone speaks fondly of because we were seeing boobies on TV.
In terms of most entertaining show overall, WrestleMania 17 is still unbeaten because it's there's not a dud on this card. Eddie Guerrero versus Test is forgettable, but it's only 8 minutes.
Yeah. That show flowed well too.
Yeah.
It felt like you were just sitting there dragging, watching, stuff was carrying on forever. Because I just recently rewatched that, between summer. I think it was back in the summer, and I was like, this flowed really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also the year, I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, where WWE, I guess it would be WWF at the time, went back to running stadiums. Because they went about 10 years there just running arenas, essentially, which is not a bad idea. You're going to get a full house, but then they went back, and they almost never turned back to that. They did for a couple years from 20 to 22, but then after that, it's been stadium show after stadium show after whatever. They ran a stadium during COVID and had 17,000 people one night and 18,000 another night.
What'd you expect?
I didn't expect anything because you had 5 blow up fucking
put
things
in Florida so that they could
do it. Yeah, because I remember I went down during COVID. I went down to a New Year's show at Daly's place for AEW, which was a lot of fun to do that. The drive sucked, but I still had a ton of fun going, hanging out down there. It was weird. I was on my own. I had nobody with me.
Driving on your own to Jacksonville to watch wrestling, that is something the KJ of today will not do because he has 2 little kids.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Not anymore. Yeah, I decided to...
Your wife would be looking at you like, where the hell
you what are you doing, dude? Yeah, right. You're staying here, homie. Get out of here. If anyone's leaving, it's me, not you. Bye. Which, fair enough. All right, let's see how many times we saw Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns in a row here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4...
3 WrestleMania main events for those two.
Yep.
Just absurd.
I know. And they went 4 in a row. 31 through 34. One of them was on top in the main event. Just fucking eye roll. Although they didn't actually main event as much as I thought. Looking at this, I'm standing corrected here. It didn't.
there's also the SummerSlam shows they did.
That's what it is. Yeah, it was always okay. Or like Survivor Series main event.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because back then Survivor Series was pretty big because they didn't just do the traditional like they did back in the day and try to in the teens. They would pack the show as like one of the big fours.
How do y'all feel about Survivor Series as a concept? I feel like it's just turning into war games. Like that's it. I don't feel like it's.
That's the thing. Like the show was built around a gimmick that is watered down in modern times. Like, let's get all these big stars together in an elimination tag match, which in 1988 is fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, it was insane.
But
it was great.
But nowadays it's just okay. We need a different kind of gimmick. So they tried to do the one night a year when Raw and SmackDown go head to head, but it just felt so forced and artificial and just everyone wearing a Raw and SmackDown t-shirt. Like it fucking matters because half of you are just going to be moved in the next draft or superstar shakeup or whatever.
That's fair. It's a fair fucking critique, man, and it's been really frustrating why they would emphasize it.
They tried to get us with the champion versus champion, so like both heavyweight champions face mid-carders, and it's like it's only good if it's the right person is holding the title and we get like a dream match.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the brand split, like they knew Triple H, I think, has the right instinct to completely disregard the brand split as much as he can. Like, obviously there are separate rosters right now because I think that's what the networks want.
Right.
But, he knows it doesn't really matter. It's not like anyone's a SmackDown soldier or anything like that.
Yeah, because if you don't, because the way they have it set up, which I do like, is you have respective GMs, and we respect both of them, I think, just for their contributions to the business. So it doesn't insult our intelligence in that way. You can keep them there. But I got no problem if Cody's showing up in both shows. I got no problem if LA Knight shows up in both shows. Because as long as they're not alluding to the fact that they're on SmackDown, it doesn't insult my intelligence that we know that's bullshit. Because you're just a fucking contracted You know what I mean? Like, I think we're smart enough at this point. I mean, it's the same thing that AEW did. They tried to make, records matter. And I think that kind of went out the window too when someone comes back and it's super nice and it's easy for them to get a win, get a dub. You know what I mean? So, like, I think there was a good idea, and I like the tournament aspect, and I think that's when it makes sense for points, but I don't think it needs to be a continuation. Because sometimes it looks kind of dumb when, like OC has, like, the most, like, wins, but, like, he's not going to be champ, right? So it's like, why does it fucking matter, right? Like, it's the same type of concept there with those little gimmicks, but I respect him for trying. Keeps us entertained enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, as far as Survivor Series goes, War Games is an effective gimmick right now, but I mean, that's the thing. You're always going to run into a problem when you do a yearly gimmick match.
Yeah.
To where it's like you're like trying to get blood from a stone in terms of justifying why these 5 individuals are fighting these 5 other individuals in a fucking crazy spot fest in a cage. And that's why Triple H has been reliant on factions just to justify the War Games.
Yeah. Well, because you're pretty much now at this point figuring out who fights the bloodline. Right? And they did so much recruiting that it was just a bloodline War Games.
Whatever incarnation of Damage Control on the women's side.
For real.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that.
Like, I mean, what is Damage Control? You guys are the ones who watch WWE, so you tell me. What is their goal right now? They're just friends who are kind of mean to people?
If that,
I don't know,
they're not even.
When they had Bailey, like, they were like heels and they were mean, and then they cashed her out, and she won that Mania, which was cool. And then it's just like,
so they're just like
they went to Raw.
They're just a bunch of scheming Orientals now.
Yeah, because they got drafted to Raw as heels, and then all of a sudden they just flipped them like one day, and they're like, "Oh, now they're friends."
Yeah,
they're happy, and we're just like.
And this is a fair criticism. I mean, now we're just kind of taking all takes, but why not? It's our first show. Like, it's definitely a fair criticism of WWE because I think they always make their women talent look good when they're featured on television. Like, I don't want to say they ever look bad, but like, there's nothing that, like, they keep them warm. They put them on like low heat. You know what I mean? Like, they just they keep them warm so we know they're there and we know we can pull the trigger on them at some point. But like, after Rhea won the title back, there's not a single, and Tiffy won the title, there's not a single female specific thing on either roster really in WWE that I care about.
KJ, the women of WWE are like slices of pizza at the Quick Trip.
I mean, if you want to relegate them to that in this conversation and make me seem to be like a chauvinistic piece,
you're keeping them warm, but you know they're there, just like pizza at the Quick Trip.
Well, then yeah, I guess you're right. Then yeah, that's a great simile in comparison. Sorry about that, but it's one of those things where like it does make sense where you have someone like a Becky on TV, a Charlotte on TV, a like. Bianca and Jade should have been featured more. So it sucks Jade got hurt. Like, they don't. And I hate to say that because you got Bayley there, but like, nothing is compelling me enough, and they're not booking Nia as this monster. So for me, it's just kind of like, why do I care as much? Right? I care about the mid card type things because it's like, oh, who's the next chick that's going to be taking the spot? But that's because I'm a wrestling fan, not because I actually give a shit about the gimmick, which is it's not unfair. It's just I think it's the way it's always been over there. They've had moments. Obviously, you had the main event, but even then, the main event was ruined by fucking Ronda because she had to be in it. You know what I mean? Like, I think it took away from Becky and Charlotte in some ways. Obviously, star power. Like, money talks, right? I'm not gonna be naive to that, but
Sure.
the purist in me is just kind of like, I wish there was a little bit more. That's why I liked when Evolution was a thing. I liked when there was a little bit more of an emphasis behind it. But now it's just kind of like, now that it is just kind of like, oh, it's accepted. There's just nothing compelling. Unfortunately, at least going out right now.
When some of the ladies come back and we'll start getting some things shaken up, and you'll get some dream matches and some other things out. Jade's gonna come back at some point, and we'll figure out what the hell happened with that. I know Charlotte's coming back any day. Becky, we're probably gonna get some NXT call ups, if not before Mania, right after.
I would say so too. Yeah, and
it's
just let them keep fighting Tiffy, and just let her keep putting him down, and then let Charlotte just bury her in like 30 seconds.
She's been on the last couple of years on the train of like putting females over. That's why she took that. She's the one that put the one about taking the L at Mania to Rhea.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because Charlotte knows what the fuck she's doing, bro. She's literally going to go down as the greatest female wrestler of all time. Like, there's no one who can
in America.
In America, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So sorry. Hold on. Let me not disparage Japanese wrestling, but anyway,
like all Japan women. I just know, like, if we said that, unqualified people would go down our throats.
Yes. Okay. Hold on. Let me for Americanized wrestling that World Wrestling Entertainment has produced. I think she will go down as one of the best sports entertainers then in that case of all time. But I still think she could fucking go in Japan.
Yeah, no.
I think she could do that.
That's what I'm wondering, guys. Who should win the Women's Royal Rumble this year in 2025? I think a lot of people are thinking that it's Io's turn, because that's the thing with women. They always are like they emphasize whose turn it is. It's my mom says it's my turn to play with the belt. Mom says it's my turn to point at the WrestleMania sign. I think
Omar, Let's put our heads together here. I like Io as a choice, but Io would be a transitional champion because they don't ever book her in a good storyline.
Well, no. Like, I not even win the
title.
She
was just champion for like 6 months.
She already had like a good title run.
Right.
But like just to win and then challenge Rhea at Mania, which I think a lot of people are saying that's going to be the Mania match.
If you just want to give us a banger match with not a ton of heat, sure. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, but in terms of, like, story, like, I'd say, although I don't think she needs to win the Rumble to do this, do Charlotte Rhea 3 at Mania.
I feel like if you're saving Charlotte, you have her come in at Rumble and win it.
Yeah.
Because to me, Charlotte Rhea, or let her do the same shit she did last time and let Tiff stay on top. and let that be something.
Okay, yeah, Tiffany Charlotte, yeah, they might do that.
You see what I mean, right?
Yeah, because that's going to be a hell of a match.
So like
and I would love to see.
But
that
even then, this is the whole point that I'm kind of making here. There's a whole fucking
another
roster
point
of people,
context.
and it's like
we're very invested in what the WrestleMania card looks like because all three of us are going to WrestleMania.
Yeah,
Yay!
That was me last year invested, and that's why I was kind of pissed.
Yeah. So newsflash to anyone listening to this that's never looked up ticket prices. Okay, so like money really wasn't an issue when I was going, but when I say I got sticker shock, okay, when I looked at the seats I was normally going to get, I was not about to make my friends here shell out $2,800 pre-taxes to go sit where we were going to sit, and I was like, guys, I don't think that's happening, because that was what was available. That 100 level seat was like $2,800 something when I looked. I went,
bringing things back to our theme. It is not the best time to be a wrestling fan if you care about your wallet,
dude. Just to put it into perspective, right? Anytime WWE or AEW, right? We do not discriminate here on the Tribalism Chiefs.
I do. Fuck up,
yeah, just whatever. But like I normally if I and I always get the pre-sale codes. I buy 100 level. It's usually section like I'm always facing the stage. I like facing the stage, sitting a little bit to the right. If you can get me on the aisle so I can go get a drink, you get the idea. The Raw tickets were like 100 and something, like 150, something like that. Like after fully loaded, something like that.
Yeah.
And then Collision was like 60. Like it's crazy. It's just crazy how much money WWE will shell out. But here's the thing: when we go into Spectrum, that place is going to be packed. It's going to be packed.
Oh, for sure.
It's going to be crazy. And like, here's the wild part too.
And now they got a damn drone that they fly.
And now, and now, like, here I'm thinking about it. I was like, it's the Netflix era, man, and we're going to Raw. Like, dude, there's going to be celebs out the fucking wazoo being featured in Charlotte too. I'm like, okay, like here we go. But whatever. I mean, we're there. We're having a good time. We already paid, so we gotta go.
I'm not sure what celebrities in Charlotte there'll be. J. Cole, maybe?
I'm just talking the whole fucking... the Hornets will show up or some shit, or just fucking, people like that. Like, local, whatever. They're going to feature that.
Who cares about LaMelo Ball? It's all about Jello now and his new single.
They probably won't put, they probably have Earnhardt.
Yeah, like, just some stupid whatever. But yeah, you're right. On your wallet, it was just crazy. So we ended up shelling out, what was it, about $1,800 just to go sit in the fucking nosebleeds? Yeah, buddy. Let's go. Or it was like $1,300 or $1,400, but... yeah, dude, just to get
as long as our site isn't impacted by the stupid arches they put up, around the ring for WrestleMania.
It won't be.
Because they go really high, don't they?
In Philly they weren't. You only had the ring ones. They didn't really have arches in the way they had it set.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah. We'll be in Vegas. I will have gorged on $100 buffet and whatever substances are legal there.
Everything.
I'll be content.
Well, not everything's legal. Omar.
No. They don't let you smoke crack in Vegas. That's
no.
Damn shit.
But all you need is just probably just shrooms, a little bit of weed. You can go get that.
Yeah, I mean, considering I am pretty much I drink a lot, but I'm a lightweight. There's an episode of this show, folks, that you'll probably never listen to. It was our original Practice pilot, and I got too turned on THC sparkling water.
Y'all need to...
When I tell you your face, bro, I was like, KJ, look at
dude, he was so... Man, Jake was so happy. He was feeling so good. Just being like, la, 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 la. But it's funny, though. We do the pilot, but we've got 50 other fucking episodes in the can. So it's not like you didn't have practice, So yeah, you'll do that. You can drink on the strip, which is really cool. I like doing that. I like going into CVS and buying 2 tall boy twisted teas and just walking to whatever casino I need to go to. If it's like a mile, chug one of those. Yeah, man, it's good. And then Planet 13 is where you'll go to get some weed. I'll probably end up hitting that up. Omar, if you wanted to go to the joint, by the way, we should do eggs and legs if we're going to do it. Like, we should go in the morning and go get breakfast or something. You know what I mean?
Would it? Yeah, because they say they always got to kill a buffet.
That's what I'm saying, man. If we're going to go, let's do that because that keeps us out of trouble. That's
sure.
Okay, cool. All right.
So, KJ, in terms of the best time to be a wrestling fan, another thing that is really harshing everyone's vibe lately AEW fans are having another crash out about how the company is ruined. They've killed themselves by death of 1,000 cuts.
Oh no.
Oh, Ibu and the Wrestle Unpurists have spilled a lot of tea and how Jon Moxley has ruined the company forever and ever. Oh my god, nothing will ever be good again.
Yeah, say that to their fucking TV deal and the fact that they're on Max, you fucking moron. Okay, so like here's the thing. I think people were, and I guess it's a fair critique, but I think if you just use like one extra brain synapse, like, and let it fucking register, I think it'll be fine. Like, AEW was definitely 2019 into like going 2020 to 2021. That shit was hot. Why? WWE still sucked. We talked about this ad nauseum prior to even Omar joining us on the original pod. And I think there was people who, just like you said, wanted WWE to be better. And at the time, AEW was just a more entertaining show to watch because it was new, it was exciting, it was different. Now they've kind of fallen into place, right? I think AEW fans are struggling with the fact that there aren't as many of them as they thought there were. And I think you could say that about like deep fandoms in general. Like if the only thing you ingratiate yourself with, like you're like, oh man, everyone must be that dude. Like you go ask 50 people on the street, I bet you 0 of them watch wrestling, right? Like that's the type of probability, right, that we get to. So Omar, what the fuck's your face going on? What are you looking at over there?
Bruh. So I just got Raw on in the background, and they had Rhea in the ring with Nia Jax. Nia Jax is slaying in this cat suit. Then they just add Bailey in the ring, and I'm like, bro.
Oh, so you're looking at ass. Okay, fuck you, man. I'm going down a damn thought. But needless to say, you're good. But needless to say, like I think people are now starting to realize like there's not as many wrestling fans, but what I mean by that are like actual professional wrestling fans that are going to commit to buying the pay-per-views, watching the show, doing all of that. But it's not like the numbers have gone lower necessarily across the board than what they started at, right? They started around that 600, 700 range. Now they're at 500, 600 on Wednesdays, right? Like it's not...
Attendance is definitely a problem.
Attendance,
and I think that's a problem with marketing and they're just not as hot.
They're just not as hot. And I think also too, and I think I could say this, and I think Meltzer was like wrong. I think people who watch AEW, like at least from what I've seen, even within our circles, no one wants to shell out the money to support it. Like it seems like people are always asking for a login, or it seems like people don't want to go to the show, or they're asking for a ticket, or like all these things. Whereas on the other side, they commit to the bit. Right? They've got the subscription services, and maybe you're meeting them where they're at, and that's fine. But like, it's something very interesting to me, and I don't know if that has anything to do with attendance, because I would say their marketing could use a little leg up there. But I'm also sitting here saying, even if you increase that, I feel like if I have a choice between a WWE show and an AEW show, and I'm not a wrestling fan, I'm choosing WWE every time. Right? So I'm also trying to think like, was AEW ever for a casual? I don't think so. Right? Because here's what I do know, right? And Omar, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it was started by the Elite and Tony Khan. And Tony Khan was there in the ECW arena. He was there on the forums,
always the underground shit
posting. So it was never like, obviously, it's a business. It's going to try and make as much money as it can.
Yeah. And they're still doing well with that. Like,
yeah, but at the end of the day, it's driving philosophy is, not that of WWE's.
No, not at all. All things considered, I just told you what the ticket prices were in the same city. It's like $100 difference, right? So from an affordability perspective, they're still giving you that. I remember those same seats were like $30, right? So they're clearly increasing prices a little bit. It's not like Tony Khan doesn't have any fucking business sense. His family's fucking billionaires, right? Like, he knows what he's doing.
Like
here,
the
right?
ticket prices thing, it should also, like, the Spectrum Center probably like takes a lot of the
absolutely cut. Yeah, and they also have the
as opposed to AEW, which runs its shows in the Bojangles Coliseum,
right? Yeah, which is hosting, concerts and, Disney on Ice.
Checkers.
The Checkers, right? Checkers games are great. I love going to Checkers games. They're awesome.
It's been years since I've been, but I love them.
Yeah, but to me, I don't think you can say AEW is in the mud. I think they're just now hitting a state of I don't know what the right term is, and I should know this offhand, but like they're now starting to figure out what can I bank on monthly from a recurring revenue perspective so I can shop this entity out to continue getting sponsorship. That's their main focus
like a
now.
lull right
Yeah,
now.
it's a lull for sure, but like we got to give that shit time, even if the Death Riders
Correct.
thing isn't that great. It's like, but I can look at the undercard.
It's just we've been saying this for months though. Like AEW's just in a bit of it's just a teensy bit of a gully, like to quote The Big Short, where that realtor in Florida in 2006 was saying, it's fine, it's just a bit of a gully. It's just a bit of a gully.
Right, and then all of a sudden it fucking crashes 2 years later. Yeah, like it's, to me, it's, I think, honestly, I think what'll happen is we need about another year or two for talent to get sick and tired of not being featured the way that they want and see them fail on the indies for AEW to finally reach its full potential. There are way too many people there. There's way too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's been the thing,
right,
that
like,
AEW, the negative effect of AEW existing is that it takes a lot of people off the market in American wrestling.
Right. And to me, it's because of how it runs, which is a super indie by design, by the way, because it's not WWE and it's never going to be WWE Light because they've tried that, and look at fucking Impact Wrestling. It's about to get fucking acquired, right? So there you go. But it's because of that you have so much good talent that I think what's going to happen is, I say this in 2 years it's going to start. I think in the next 10 to 15 years, AEW is going to be hot again. Because all the talent for WWE that's not being featured anymore is going to end up there. But you're going to see bigger names. You're going to see bigger talent. And it's going to give that opportunity, which we've seen already. And I know we shit on Cope and blah, 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 whatever. But like that's the time I'm talking about. But during that time, it's not like AEW is going to flounder and fail. They've got a TV deal. They can put shit out. They can still put thousands of people in an arena.
I'd like to state point of value. Like one of our core values as a podcast. You know, we are very... queer inclusive.
Yes.
I myself identify as non-binary and stuff. We respect and love all queer people. As far as wrestling, though, we will dead name the fuck out of people if we have a chance.
Absolutely.
I will never call Adam Copeland Cope.
No, fuck that
Fuck
shit.
that.
I'm not going to
That is
cope and call him Cope.
just-
I agree.
In fact, you're just Edge. You're just Edge, okay? If you had the ability to, you would be calling yourself Edge in AEW. We all fucking know
but you know
this.
what, though? He's probably sitting at home. He's probably just like, fuck these guys. I'm doing it anyway. I don't give a shit. I trademarked it. I paid my money. I did what I needed to do. You're going to call me Cope because that's what I want. But
he probably doing this shit to troll anyway because he knows it's annoying.
right,
like,
man.
You can call me Cope.
Yeah, dude. And use it in gimmicks and blah, blah, blah. Because that's what they do because they're entertainers. But needless to say, yes, it's not as hot as it was. If you're willing to commit to it and willing to invest in it and not, dick ride every fucking match that Kenny says and think he should be champ because of one match because, okay, pump the fucking brakes, right? Like, if you're going to go into it with a good intention and understand that these people are putting on their craft and they're not produced nearly as much as the other channel, dude, it's a great show. It's the greatest thing you're going to see. I'm sorry. It's just one of the greatest things you're going to see. Why was Wrestle Dynasty so good? You think it was because fucking New Japan was able to do it on its own? Absolutely not. Right? Like it's just the way it is, right? Why is fucking AEW talent going over there? Right? Why is that happening? Right? Because they know what good is. It's just the way it is. It's just never going to be what you want it to be if you keep comparing it to what you consider the best to be. And we look at it that way.
I mean, it's just another problem of AEW fans, and I think I fell into a trap when in 2022-23 where I was looking for this one wrestling show, specifically Dynamite, to fill all my needs as a wrestling fan. And that's never going to happen with one wrestling show. Mm-mm. And that's why it's still a good time to be a wrestling fan, because if you care enough, you can watch whatever kind of wrestling you want to watch.
You want hardcore shit? GCW. You want actual fighting? Bloodsport. You want to see WWE ripoff? Impact. You want to watch...
Speaking of which, shout-outs to the former Baron Corbin, Tom Pestock, going one-on-one with Josh Barnett in the Hammerstein Ballroom in Bloodsport rules match.
Which is
the next GCW
dope,
show.
Right? JBL might fucking clothesline Hangman at All In. Who the fuck knows, right? Like, but I think, and as we're going through this and being facetious, right? One, we're talking about this. We're not making money on this. We got no sponsorships. We're just three, dudes hanging out, just fucking chatting wrestling. But two, I think the level has been elevated immensely. Because what did we just do? We just sat there and shat on the 2013 to 2018 era, and like we can do all of that. I don't think I can look at this back in 10 years and say, that was a shitty time period. Because I think this has been great. We've seen some awesome things from the first All In to like having another promotion run Wembley and sell it out. I don't give a shit what you say about the ticket numbers. They put 65,000 plus people in fucking Wembley Stadium. I don't give a shit what you have to say. Like, that's dope, right? Yeah. Those are things that you can attribute to this era, and I think you can't ever take that away. But now we can't get a good pop for someone showing up anymore because all the big stars have either switched sides already, right? So, like, we have to wait. We got to be patient. So, yeah, of course it's a lull. But like,
yeah, there was a column on Wrestling Observer today, like the fun of free agency is no more.
Yeah, it's like I'm racking my brain. Like who, like a free agent who would leave? It'd have to be like Seth Rollins showing up on AEW.
Like in 2017, I got so much out of articles about the Elite possibly going to WWE. You know.
And wasn't that like a real possibility until TK was like, no, we're really going to do this thing? Like, wasn't that like a thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, because I think Cody always wanted to go back to the Fed.
Which, so ignorant of me to think he wouldn't. What an idiot I am. God, that was fucking, that's some copium for sure.
You believe, dude, he started this company. He's never
he can't go back now.
And I'm sure, honestly, like, the Bucks, as much as they try to posture about how anti-establishment they are, they would definitely get a kick out of a WWE run. You know?
Well, it's also
like,
too
literally kick the Usos.
Of course, but they wouldn't have to work that hard either, which I think is really cool for them. And I think they're hitting a point where they can do that. Like they've purposely in their matches now, like they're trolling the fans, obviously, but they're not doing all the shit they did before. So I think they could work in that system and then get a couple of those, especially if they work with like Motor City Machine Guns and like whatever. Like I would say that that's probably a more of a possibility now than I think it would have been when it started.
That's another thing too, though. I'm thinking now as an OG AW fan, seeing Penta El Cero Miedo on Raw, you know, it just made me think, okay, wow, it really is the end of an era, because I never thought that the Lucha Bros would leave AEW. It seemed like that they would always be catered to, but no, you know, Penta saw what you could get out of merch checks in WWE. And was like, fuck yeah.
And that's the big thing, right? And that's why, like, to me, it seems so brain dead to have such tribalism sometimes, because it's these guys are making money by entertaining you, which means if someplace else is going to put you in the mid card but pay you double what you have and don't have to work nearly as hard, like, I don't know, man. It's just crazy not to consider that, dude, because these guys aren't dumb, right? And also, too, I would also say WWE fans are AEW fans, but I don't know if the inverse is true as much, right? Like I would sit here and say there's probably more people who watch WWE and AEW than people who watch just AEW alone, right? And obviously that would be true because duh. But I'm just saying, like, did Penta get a good pop? I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I mean, they knew who he was, as right? Like a really big get, like, you know, kind of similar
like AJ,
to
right?
Like people had probably maybe seen one Shinsuke Nakamura match in early 2016, but still everyone was super hyped to get him because it was just like, oh my God, the internet says he's a really good wrestler, even though people like want to shit on the internet, like they still use them for hype.
And that's what I mean is like it's very hard for me to look at someone like a Penta and be like, well, are they giving him the bag? Okay, go.
Yeah, like I have no problems with Penta being in WWE. I know that there will be good tag team wrestling after the Lucha Brothers. It just makes me sad sentimentally as, you know, an OG AW fan and who fell in love with the Lucha Brothers and what they delivered to Dynamite, you know, when they were on.
Yeah.
And I think
it's one of my favorite tag teams. Yeah, I agree.
And it's wild too because it's like if you think about it, like AEW being so good at the time was almost its own curse. Because if it wasn't that great and fans were just diehard for it, Lucha Bros might still be champs. You know, like it wouldn't be a rotational. It wouldn't try to be featuring more talent or whatever.
The problem is with AEW, I think that they truly are a promotion that needs like ride or dies. Like with WWE, like they are stable enough to where they can just bring in any old mercenary and it won't rock.
Oh yeah, and they'll pay college kids. They were probably making shit on their NIL deals. But like, yeah, you want close to $100,000 to go live in a fucking apartment? Here you go, bud. Okay.
Right.
Want
For
unlimited
real.
access to bitches? Go to the performance center.
Hell yeah, dude. And guess what? When they walk in, they got that shit catered to them. They're like athletes over there. They got that shit done. So all their money's whatever. And they probably got
Hell
financial
yeah.
advisors and the whole fucking nine, right? But even then, it's not like they have to pay the kids a bunch of cash, right? But talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and like free agent, like guys like Penta, he's not gonna cause a ruckus. He's getting paid, Whereas with AEW, you need people who really believe in the project.
Yes.
Otherwise, you just have people who are dissatisfied that it's not WWE and will like fuck up the vibes.
Yeah. And I think they're starting to go away too, which is nice to some extent. Although there were some people in front of us that were like, "Yeah, WWE's bad." It's like, well, okay, but like, why are you talking about it?
Talk about this.
Right.
You guys were at Collision in Charlotte the other week.
Yeah.
What were these fans like that you speak of?
So I'm really just being snarky because the people in front of us were just saying stupid nonsense, but like they don't speak on the collective. But like something that's interesting, you kind of bring it up, and Omar, I'm sure you probably feel the same, is like, I remember crowds being hotter, and of course there were more people there, and we were more energetic, and blah, and insert whatever here, and I get that, but it didn't feel as ruckus as it used to be, and I wonder if that's the talent that was featured. I wonder if it's just fans getting so stimulated to the point that like unless they're seeing a fucking Will Ospreay like fucking versus Okada or whatever match, like they're not gonna pop as much, right? Because the Collision to me is as close to WWE I think as you're gonna get, because they give you these like old school fucking wrestling matches, right? Which I guess you could call Southern wrestling, but like they do holds, they do the moves, they want to react to the crowd, whatever. And it's like it was just kind of like it wasn't like a, I don't know, Omar, fill it in, but like
I think it was you were hitting on something there. I think it was some of the talent that people wanted to see weren't there.
It's Collision.
From like things I heard from people when I first got in. Yeah, like I'm like, dude, it's Collision. You're not
It's
gonna
not
get
Wednesday
MJF,
night,
you're not
it's
gonna
Saturday
get
night.
Ospreay. You're not gonna get Ricochet and all these other guys.
Right.
Like people were like, I thought we'd at least get like the Hurt Syndicate. You're probably not gonna
What?
get them either unless it's
Come
like a go
on,
home,
dude.
Like, yeah,
Collision's
like if
the
something's
wrestling
coming up
show.
on the horizon, then maybe right. Like that's not gonna happen. I think it was that, and it's just I don't know. People look a lot into the numbers as well, so they're like, okay, we're in a smaller arena. Like there's still a lot of open seats. I'm like, who gives a fuck about that?
Yeah,
like,
and
it's wrestling.
Because
if you love it,
like,
you're here.
That's the
You're
thing
here to
about
watch.
wrestling fans; they want so badly to be validated for their hobby.
Dude, I looked up the numbers to rent
get it.
out, like, I remember it was Greensboro Coliseum. I was like, how much is it to actually rent that space for like a night? It's $15,000. That's not a lot of money at all, right? So I'm sitting here, going,
Tony did it for Sting's final match,
right? And I'm like sitting there, right? So I'm sitting here going like, okay, so let's just look at it. And then I looked at some, arenas and blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not that much. Like high schools fucking have graduations at these places, okay? So it's not like they're crazy expensive. Yeah. And then, of course, anytime they open up a concession, the house is getting, 20% or whatever it is. So I'm sitting here going, once again, brain dead fucking takes where I'm sitting here going is like, the smaller venues might actually cost more, right? Like,
no, okay. So listen, the thing about wrestling fans is that they are so desperate to be seen as like cool and in and popular. It's why they
that's
talk
brain
so
dead.
The attitude. No, yeah. Like, obviously we understand this as guys in our 30s, who don't give a shit anymore. But it's like the libido is very strong with the wrestling fan. We can see that, I would say this is a terrible time to be a fan of women's wrestling because all the discourse is just gooner shit.
Well, it's also, you can blame that on fucking Twitter, bro. Twitter is porn. Like, that is what it is now. It is crazy. Dude. Like, Gen Z thread, you'll never believe what this is. And I'm like, all right.
Open it up and like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, cool. But it's like, you know what I mean? But like, it's so like in your face about it. And I don't know, maybe we're digging too deep here, but like, I don't know, man, it just lends itself to just being just random ass behavior. And I think it just makes you more aggressive.
Like, so,
come on,
like
man.
One of the Twitter influencer accounts, so Kay Adams of the NFL Network, right? She's she's a cute white girl, okay? That's her thing. She's cute.
That's Omar's.
She's
type.
cute and she talks about football.
She is a baddie.
There you go.
Yeah.
We don't discriminate.
And
No.
she went to Raw in the Intuit Dome for the first Netflix episode.
Of course.
And that was her first wrestling show ever. And she
That's a
was just
good one
like,
to go
oh,
to."
Hey, like, this is cool. You know, this is all neat and stuff. You know, she posted a picture of, like, Undertaker riding in on his motorcycle, and she's like, what's this guy's story? You know, that kind of stuff.
And she probably got
She was
lit
probably
up.
paid to be here.
She probably got lit up by like marks.
Oh, people went in on it.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, that's
And like one of the wrestling influencer accounts, you know, was like, y'all better not scare away Kay Adams, because people are still psychologically transfixed on this one episode of Wrestling Twitter where Kat Dennings mentioned SummerSlam or something, and like apparently there were a bunch of people in the comments recommending like New Japan matches, and these WWE fans have taken that to say, you scared away Kat Dennings by being nerdy. How dare you? This is why wrestling that's not WWE is bad. It scares away the hoes.
I don't know if that's true, but like when you make, it's kind of like with politics.
Yeah.
If you make it part of your personality, and that's the only thing that you can communicate on any sort of competent level, like, dude, come on, man. Like, I would say the same thing about a sports fan too, especially, and I would say the same thing about a wrestler. If you are a wrestling fan or a sports fan and you're not athletic and you talk about work rate, stop.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that. Yes,
stop,
that is one
bro.
of the biggest things that pisses me off. Yeah,
God.
And I've been around so many dudes like that. Like, you go to a football game, they haven't played a lick,
dude.
And he's sitting there trying to tell you shit, and I'm just sitting there like. And my mom, she's with me in the stands. Like, we went to a Ravens.
Has anyone actually used the term work rate unironically since like 2010? Though
probably not. But I'm just using it as the term because that's what people fucking comment about.
And I'm just like, bruh.
But you're right.
First thing out my mouth was, have you played a lick of football? He was like, no. And I'm like, why the hell are you even talking
having
right now?
played,
you have no clue what you're talking
no, mind, I
about.
only played through high school, but having played at an actual competitive level and going to championships, right? Never won one, got to the finals a bunch, but never won. Dude, the amount of protection that we give Patrick Mahomes is criminal. Criminal. Yes. Like, literally.
Because the era I grew up in, I could take a quarterback's head off and wouldn't even get a flag.
And, like, mind you, I understand people are getting stronger and faster and you want to take safety precautions. And, like, here's the thing. If you're a cornerback and you're running full steam at someone who's got 100 pounds on you, you're not cracking them. You're not cracking them, dude. It's not happening, right? Like, that's just physics. And it's like, and there were people who led with their head. Vontaze Burfict was one of them. Sean Taylor was one of them, right? Like, these
Ike Taylor was another one.
These were people that led with their head, right? Most people are just doing what you can, because then I'll say that, oh, you never played a lick? Yeah, come at me real quick. Now put your head down. And I just shove them to the ground. And I go, yeah, because you can't tackle that way, dude. So if they're leading with their head, it's easy to fucking get out of the way. But what happens? You lower your shoulder. I'm just getting down a whole tirade. It's just, I guess, newsflash. If you like sports and you analyze them and you've never played a lick of it, don't think anyone's going to take your opinion seriously unless you're getting paid hundreds of thousands to do so. Okay? End rant.
Right.
Most of that's online, but you do see it from time to time. But you do see it from time.
You do get it in person.
You do get it in person, and I see it, and it's a lot of crossover between at sports bars, at sporting events and wrestling shows, and it's interesting to me because I've never felt, and maybe I just had the privilege of playing the sport, so like maybe I can look at it differently. But like, I don't know, just interesting. I woke up and chose violence today.
Absolutely.
I
mean,
did.
It makes
dude.
for good content. As far as, though, I would say one of the core values we want to convey on this show is no one company is your answer. If you truly care about wrestling and want it to be better, you need to watch more wrestling from places you don't normally watch. Because if you just get into a groove with a certain company, that one company is going to be how you see everything, and it poisons you. It poisoned me for a long time.
I want to put an if
I know
here.
People like that.
No, I completely agree. If you're going to join the discourse in terms of like that perspective, but I can sit here and say, if you like one and you just stay in that lane, you don't bother anyone about it, I think that's okay now. as long as you understand that they're
That's true.
right? Because like, here's the thing. My kids are probably not going to watch AEW with me, right? They might, but not until they're a little older. But what are they going to start watching with their kids? WWE. That's going to be what they know, right? So it's hard for me to... I agree with the statement, but I want to put the if, because I do think there are people who probably like found fucking Impact randomly, or were like, I love this shit. This is great. And don't watch anything else, and maybe not even know, right? I doubt it, but those probably exist. There's probably kids who watch just NXT because they're in college. There's probably people who just watch WWE because of whatever. But those people, I don't think are joining the discourse. Maybe Kevin Nash and fucking Undertaker are, but they're getting paid to fucking do that shit, right? So of course they're going to shit on anything else that's not WWE. But I don't think fans of just WWE are doing that as well. Actually, I would say any conversation that I've had with someone probably a little bit older who was a WWE fan first and likes AEW has nothing but great things to say. So I think I want to put an asterisk there for the sake of content and argument that if you're going to join the discourse, you must consume more than just one product to shape your perspective. If one thing is shaping your perspective, yes, I would agree. You do get poisoned, and I think you can actually have an effective discussion, like I think we can. If that's a fair retort.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair retort.
Yeah, and I hope that people understand that the Tribalism Chiefs name is ironic.
Yeah, dude.
Come on now.
Oh, Lord. It would be funny, though, to, like, watch a TNA Ride or Die since 2002, a WWE drone, and an AEW everything is fine and perfect psycho, like, just got into a room together and recorded a podcast.
I think
we need to fund that.
Fund it.
Yeah.
Maybe we throw them in a, like, an escape room as well. And the escape room has like
Not an escape.
No. It has like wrestling related things that only one of them would know, like shit like that. Like the fucking
but then they will argue over like.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like we don't even have to tell it. Like that's what I mean. Just force them into the situation. Yeah.
And then the weekend after the escape room, we could take them to Top Golf and then axe throwing and whatever bullshit us millennials are doing.
And
bars.
then they're all getting voted on, and then they all get self-conscious because people have been watching them, and now they can't be the keyboard warriors, and now people are being keyboard warriors about them, and it's like a Big Brother type thing. Yeah, dude, we got it. It's booked.
Could you imagine the butt hurtness of
dude?
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
Yeah. See, but that's what I mean. It's like wrestling is just a fucking reality TV show. That's it, man. And it's the best one. It's the best one. It's the best reality television out there. No question.
That's okay. Yeah. So, I guess kind of as a main event, I'll ask you guys, what to you is wrestling? Is wrestling a work sport with melodrama, or is it a melodrama about a fake sport?
Omar, I'll let you go first because I have something grandiose to say.
I would say the latter.
A melodrama about a worked sport.
Yeah, because I know people are gonna have different answers. You know,
it depends on the promotion.
That's what I was gonna say.
Correct. Yeah, it depends on the promotion.
Yes.
Yeah. Because a lot of people are gonna say, well, you know, it's wrestling. It just has to be, you know, matches, this and that. Though it's all a whole. You got a story. It's the action and the ring.
Production.
You got promos into it. Yeah, production. You know, some people have gimmicks. Some people just use their name. I mean, it's everything that goes into it. You know, it's a whole work thing. So that's why I say the latter. But it does depend on the promotion as well.
That's where I was going to go with it too. Is because we've firmly kind of cemented now. There is sports entertainment and professional wrestling. Like that's without a doubt a true statement now. So I think I can feel confident that if you ask me what professional wrestling is, I would say it's a work sport with a little bit of drama. However, as I get older, I really like the melodrama about a work sport. I really enjoy that because I think it's, I don't know, maybe it's because I know I sit at a computer, but I work all day, right? And then I hang out with my kids. And then, you know, if I'm going to sit down and watch something, right, I don't know if I necessarily care to watch a banger. I like watching those on pay-per-view nights, right? Like those are my big...
watch Rhea call Dom a chicken tender dipshit or whatever.
Yes. Yes,
For sure.
and you make fun of it, but yeah, right? And I would say that WWE is a little easier to consume because we talk about it. They spoon feed you, right? So if you want to consume wrestling in a different way, that's different. But I don't think WWE is professional wrestling to me. Although I do have to give them some credit. Like sometimes you get these random ass matches that fit in story. Like when fucking Gable was challenging Gunther for the IC title. Like, or was it the world title then? It was the world title, right?
IC.
IC. It was IC, right?
Yeah.
On that random Raw, dude. And then went like 4 segments or some shit. Like you sometimes get that, like, and sometimes you get like Iron Man matches from like a Seth, right? But not often. But here's what I know: they've got some of the best professional wrestlers over there, so I know they're going to be unconsciously competent in the ring. So I'm not going to have my intelligence insulted, right? But I think pro wrestling would be everything else. So it's got to be a work sport with drama. That's professional wrestling. I think if you're going to go on a definition, even though I like the other stuff. more. But I still support it. I still got it. I still do AEW Plus. I get all the pay-per-views. I got the whole fucking Rolodex, the whole 9. Yeah, because I want to appreciate it. I love being able to go back and watch old stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's interesting to me is just the way in which real sports like try so hard to like add drama with like the video packages and stuff. And the beauty of wrestling is that you can just make that happen. You don't need like chances of fate. Like I know people like cynically are like, "Oh my God, the NFL is rigged." You know, it's not rigged; it's manipulated. There's a
like rigged would mean a whole team's in on it. Manipulated is one person knows, a couple people know. That's always happened though since the beginning of time, right? I mean that happens even at like the college level now, right? Like you'd be naive not to think otherwise. Especially when it's been documented by the players.
Like if the NBA was scripted, they would have LeBron versus the Warriors every fucking year because it drew good ratings.
Right.
And now LeBron and the Warriors isn't a thing, and the NBA ratings are in the tank.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So you're saying that professional sports could learn a thing or two from professional wrestling?
Yes, absolutely.
For sure.
Because to me, professional wrestling, it is the greatest mix of what's good about sports and what's good about melodrama.
Yes, that I wholeheartedly. I think it's literally. I mean, I've always said this is like it's the most entertaining thing I've ever watched. Like across the board, it is just without a doubt the most. You have to get through the barrier of men in tights. Got it. After that, dude. It's exactly right. It combines theater, it combines drama, it combines comedy, it combines actual athleticism, right? Crowd interaction. It's a show, man. It's dope.
Storytelling's
crazy, dude. It's just awesome, right? You just have to be like, oh, well, dorks watch that. Okay, cool. Go fuck yourself.
And speaking of what you said about like when it was LeBron versus Curry, him versus the Warriors. Watch what Sunday night does when it's Lamar versus Allen. Jackson versus Allen. I'm telling you, those numbers are going to be insane.
Oh, dude, I don't watch football often, but like I've been watching the playoffs.
They're probably going to break viewership. They're probably going to break viewership.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you've got the MVP candidates going against each other in a playoff game. Not even in the Super Bowl, the playoff game.
To get our real sports bonifides out of the way, I am a Lions fan. Omar is a Ravens fan, and KJ is a Bills fan by default. By being from upstate New York.
Yep. That's it. Like, but I've always been a homer for the Bills, man. It's what it was. And we always were hoping. Now it's like, oh, cool. I've been a Bills fan this whole time. I'm not a bandwagon. And you know me, dude. I'm always getting fucking Buffalo shit. Like, dude, the place I go get our pizza at, Basante's. Yo, if you haven't gotten
way too many of you people down here, though. Like, we live in Charlotte. Tons of upstate.
No, you live in
transfers.
Buffalo.
Where are y'all coming from? Like, I know where, but why? Why here?
You're at the University of Buffalo in Charlotte. Is what you're at. Like that's
pretty much.
That's what you're at, dude. Wait, no, because here's what it is, and I'll explain it. That state is such an enigma, just like California, right? Because the city has so many people in it and drives so many of the quote unquote tax decisions there that, of course, right, the entire state's red besides the cities and New York City, of course, right? So that's what happens, right? So because of that, your property taxes are super fucking high, and it's cold all the time. It snows, and it's miserable. And then what happens is people build a life there, they get stuck there, and then some people don't want to leave because while that's true, there's also a lot of like hospitality that's up there. And like, you know, if you go to Buffalo, you're like, wow, this is a really awesome, cool spot. Yeah, it's because they didn't really have anywhere to go, right? Like that's kind of what happened. So if you have the opportunity to get out, we started seeing people stop driving to Florida and meeting in the Carolinas. We're like, oh, what's that about? And then, of course, anyone who can get out of New York, right, will go to a bigger city. And then we realized, well, I don't need to go to fucking New York City. I did that when I was a kid. Let me go somewhere else. So we pick Raleigh, we pick Greensboro, we pick Asheville, we pick Charlotte. Chances are, if you went to a university, right, and you were a spoiled rich kid or a Jap from fucking, you know, Long Island. Once again, we don't discriminate, right? Like, if you were that at Syracuse, right, what do, right? You probably went to some private university, you moved to Charlotte, right? You went to a state school, you probably ended up in Raleigh and Cary and Apex, right? Like, but it gave us the sense of home, like, because the culture was so nice without it being cold, not, 7-8 months out of the year is pretty much the answer. I know it ruined Charlotte.
It wasn't cold, and yet this past weekend we got snow for the first time in
I know, it was cool. I was like walking outside in my flip-flops. I'm like, oh, it's crunching like back home. That's cool.
Did the children enjoy the snow?
They've gone up and seen like real snow. So Mav was just like,
okay.
Yeah. So Mav's like frozen because it was just ice. Yeah, it was just cute, but
fucking kids in Frozen, man. It's
dude,
been like over 10 years since that movie.
He loves that movie. Like, and we'll sing "Let It Go," and he'll be like, "Let it go, let it go." Like, oh, dude, it's adorable, man. It's absolutely adorable, and I love it. We also sing at night.
Well, my damn driveway close to the door, the sun doesn't hit it, so it's still ice.
It's still ice there. Yeah.
Come and like we're watching their dog this week, and they get out and they're from upstate New York. Well, one's from Massachusetts, but the other one
we're northeast. We're all the same.
She's just like
she's just like
she gets out, she's sliding around.
Does either child like the Moana soundtrack? Because I want to see you put one of the children on your lap and say, "Look, there's Maui, and it's Dwayne looking like shit, just ad-libbing a promo.
I don't know. Actually, you know what? I could probably check with Mav. Marlena's still too young. She's only 7 months old. Mav might be able to put to. Yeah, I mean, maybe she might figure it out. She might be super a brainiac. We have no idea. Probably not though. There are kids. But Mav might be able to figure it out. If I did it, I might be able to. He's only watched Moana a couple times. He really likes the Spider-Man friends. It's the show that
Spidey.
Spidey. Yeah, Spidey, and it's like Spidey. What the hell? Yeah, Spidey. That's his fucking name. I just don't remember the exact show. That he watches that. He watches Dragon Tales, bro. Dude, you want a song to not leave your head? Dragon Tales, come along, Dragon Tales, hey along, take my dude. It's in your head for the rest of the night. I promise you.
Oh my god! Yeah.
Those are the two he mainly watches. But if we put a movie on like Polar Express, Frozen, he'll watch it. Yeah, we're probably gonna bring him to a movie at some point. Probably the next big one that comes out for Disney. I think we're gonna bring him because I think he'll sit through it, which is cool. Now I'm just giving you guys like dad shit at this point. Make the pod. Why not, man? I guess this is a good testament. I mean, you could round it out from here. This is what we talk about, man. We talk wrestling, but we're definitely going to go down rabbit holes and shit because why the fuck not?
Yep,
like
we do.
We're adults.
And some people actually.
But yeah, KJ is just a normal guy from upstate New York.
I'm a white collar fucking dad, dude. Like it's the weirdest shit. Like it's the weirdest fucking thing.
Just a kid from Baltimore who came down here for work, I think, right?
Yeah, well, follow my now wife, then girlfriend after she graduated college here and then got a job. And I was like, you know what? She wanted me to come.
Mama, baby. I love that for you, dude. Hell yeah,
I ain't doing shit in Maryland. So.
Yeah, man. Love that. That's love right there, too, man. Because you don't see that as often, right? Which is really, really cool. So, love that.
Yeah, meanwhile, I was born in Michigan, but lived most of my life down here in North Carolina.
That's why he's
went
mad at
to college in North Carolina and got a job here in North Carolina. So why
do you think we're here, bro? It was the place to be.
Carolina boy.
I mean, I'll consider myself a Carolina boy by the time, I'm into my 50s, because I'm going to start having more of a twang. It's already happened to me, for sure. Like, I've definitely slowed down, right?
Do any of your, like, relatives, like, say, KJ, you sound like a hick?
No, but they kind of make fun of me because I'm just not as off the walls as I used to be. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm also in my 30s now, but I've learned, and also maybe it's because I communicate for a living, right? So I guess I've been more intentional when I speak, except with you guys, because I like to mouth off because it's good content. But I haven't heard that, but I use y'all all the time. I'll use Southern colloquies all the time, and they're like, what the fuck's that? I'm like, it's where I live, man. I'm below the Mason-Dixon line. What do you expect, bro?
Sure.
I drive 30 minutes and I can't even understand people. You know what I mean?
It slowly starts to change. I've seen mine change too, and I'm like, oh my god, this happened.
Yeah, so the twang happens for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely, he says.
Definitely.
Oh man. What are we talking about next week, Jake? Bring us home.
Yes. But yeah, I would say that even if it's not the absolute best time to be a wrestling fan, I hope that we can improve your time as a wrestling fan through the coming episodes of the Tribalism Chiefs. And I think as a reminder to what could be, like, it could be worse. Shit could be a lot worse.
It could be
Shit
way
could
worse.
Be the 2015 Royal Rumble, which we are approaching the 10th anniversary of, and we're going to talk about it next week. Let's talk about Rock holding up Roman. Let's talk about all that. It's going to be a wild ride.
Oh my god, that's
I'm a Roman lifer, bro.
That
was hard to see. Oh my god, that was hard.
Is KJ looking up the card?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
all right.
It's
I'm
not
gonna get real stony baloney for this one. Okay, yeah, I have to. What the fuck are the New Age Outlaws doing on my screen right now? What the fuck is this?
Hey, Daddy ass!
I told you it wasn't good. It was that time frame that WWE was throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it would stick.
Come on, you bring Ziggler out at 30 and throw him out in 2 minutes.
This is not going to be like a bad reaction, like content kind of podcast. We're only going to do shows like in the past, bad shows, to give context to where we are now as wrestling fans. And I think it's very important to look back 10 years ago to see how fucking in the mud we were. So yes, we hope that you will join us next time for the meeting of the Tribalism Chiefs. If you enjoy the Tribalism Chiefs podcast, here are some of the ways you can support the show. 1. Like, review, share, and subscribe on your listening platform of choice. 2. Join the Carolina WrestleManiacs Discord, where you can chat with the host as well as other like-minded wrestling fans about everything from wrestling to movies to games to music. Link to the Discord is in the description. 3. Like us on Facebook and follow us on X, where we are the Tribalism Chiefs. 4. Consider supporting local promotions Jake works for, including Extreme Championship Wrestling based out of Charlotte and Apple City Championship Wrestling based out of Hiddenite and Hickory in North Carolina. Dates and showtimes for their events are available on their respective Facebook pages. Once again, thank you for listening to the show.